All right, Joe DeCamera, John Ritchie on a rough Tuesday morning, to say the least. A 1-1 Eagles team that obviously should have gotten the win last night and made it 2-0. For more on the game, for more on the season, for more on all of it, let's talk to Brandon Graham, who joins us every single Tuesday at this time, brought to us by Primo Hoagies. Be like Brandon Graham. Make your game day epic with party trays from Primo Hoagies. Online at primohoagies.com. It's not just a hoagie. It's a primo. It's a tough morning for Brandon Graham, who has always played his heart out last night. Came up short in the end with the loss. Brandon, I know that you have been through, 15 years. You've played more Eagles games than anyone ever. You have been through about every kind of win and every kind of loss a player can go through in a career. That one has to be particularly stinging, knowing that it was right there to be won and you guys dropped it.
Yeah, I think the one that still stick out to me is Carolina 17-0 going into the fourth, and they come back and beat us. It's one of those things, man. It sucked. I still ain't really had a chance to really process everything. I know for us as a group, we all was talking about just things that we know we need to work on, and now this is what we got to work on. And it's 2 games in, we 1-1. I didn't like that we got ran on, like you said. It's just like it was one of those days where we bowled up in the end, where we kept them out the end zone as much, and then we just dropped the ball at the end, especially in a moment where, as a defense, you want to be the last one on there to help the offense get the win, secure the win. And we can toss so many different things out there, but the main line for us is we can't have 150-yard rushing, in no games and think we're going to win and as a defense. And that's just us challenging ourselves. And so I know what we need to work on, and I know how it goes here in Philly. It's a tough day. A lot of people burning right now, and I get it, but I know that this team, I believe in this team, man. It's about getting everything together. I know all these guys that you was naming, like Jordan Davis and them guys, I know they take it personal because last night, just talking to JD, I know that he like, man, my bad, I got you. A lot of people, they playing. But kudos to the Falcons. They came out and they took care of business, and they took care of the opportunities when it came.
How does this team generate more pass rush?
We're going to get better as we keep going. I feel like, we all working. It just, suck when you see, us not getting there. And then, of course, I just know how this thing go, and when it start, hopefully it don't stop.
Brandon, after the game,
which means they come in bunches. Sometimes they do. The floodgates open, and it's like, holy cow! Why were we so worried?
Yeah. Well,
we just got 9 sacks today.
So BG, after the game, Josh Sweat said this to the reporters. He was asked about the pass rush. He said, "We're not on the same page, man. We got to be together. Ain't on the same page. That's all I can say. We're just not rushing together." Mm-hmm. Do you think he's alluding to the way stunts are going and you guys are not synced up? Or is there something more than just that? What do you think he's referencing?
Well, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I do understand that you got to rush together for sure, especially if you're doing stunts in the middle. And I know we did some stunts in the middle, and we left that B gap a little open for him to throw and be able to see. We knew where he was going to be, and, we just didn't execute the plan because we knew we know he got a shallow. He's not dropping back 8 yards. He's sitting right there in this cup, and we had to put pressure on him, and we just didn't do that up front. No excuses, but I know that today, tomorrow, we going to work because we know what's ahead of us. We still believe in this team, and it was good to hear Jalen, rah afterwards, like because he know we dropped the ball on this one. After all was bad, one catch, yes, Saquon. I love that they taking accountability, but we got to do better together. You know what I'm saying? Like compliment each other really good as far as the defense need to go out there and just make that stop.
Brandon Graham in studio as he is every Tuesday with us, 7:40 to 8:10. Typically 2 days after the game, but obviously and BG, we appreciate you coming in. Quick turnaround from last night right in here. And let me say this, my man. We know, and we knew this when we, said let's do this segment. There's going to be days things are great.
Oh, I know.
And I'm watching you 25 minutes ago while John and I are blasting the team, and you're listening to the other room, And just know this, my man, I appreciate you being here and being who you are, because, we keep it real as we see it. Mm-hmm. You keep it real as you see it. And look, we're going to have the ups and downs, obviously, the whole season. That's common. All right.
And I hope to burst your bubble. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I know you hope, too.
I do hope.
I know. I get it. And that's the biggest thing, man. It's like, it's what we going to do. It's 2 games in. What we got? 7. Where we at?
15 to go.
15, because we ain't at 18 yet.
The new math is weird. I know.
But yeah. But you know what? It's about getting hot and making sure that we on the same page. Yeah. Like, I give it to Sweaty. All right, if you feel like that, well, let's go ahead. Let's work then. Let's work a little more. Let's do a little extra. Because at the end of the day, Sweaty about challenging us as a group. Because I know it's gonna start with him. Because he worked every day. I see him. I know he was frustrated yesterday because we just let her slip, man. It burned us too, because it's like, oh my goodness, they just took that rug from up under us real quick.
Brandon, here's what I know is on the minds of a lot of fans. It's on my mind, and I guarantee it's on the minds of millions of people. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are wondering, are they good enough? Like, we've seen it in your career, and some of this because they weren't good enough early. Some, like Nnamdi Asomugha, had been great but wasn't good here. Mm-hmm. Guy like Marcus Smith was never good here. Some guys just aren't good enough. And one of the things we're wondering about the guys up front, not you at this stage. I mean, you are still doing your thing, and frankly, shouldn't have to play as much as you are, in my opinion. Yeah. Because others should have to play more and carry the flag at this stage. But I mean, we're wondering whether Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, and Josh Sweat, if they're good enough.
Bryce Huff.
We'll find out.
Where are the players looking for answers right now? We as fans, we're looking. We're questioning everything. Mm-hmm. Where are the players questioning?
Well, the players questioning us together, like Sweaty said. Hey, this us together. Because if we out there running around and we out there being where we're supposed to be and making our plays when they come, I know that it makes everybody look good. It makes everybody, just be in a position to when that play come to them, they make it. And of course, the running game, we wasn't making it. And that starts with us. Always, it's an attitude you got to have. Of course, they had a good little scheme going. They were doing some stuff, but I know that for us, we can't allow that and plan on trying to win this year, because you got to be able to stop the run, especially if we talking about going to the playoffs. You got to be able to just do your thing. And I know we building this thing, and we building, and I believe in this team, and I know we gonna go out and put a better showing when our back's up against the wall like it is right now, because we all figuring out our identity as a team. And these last 2 games, we got one against the Packers, but the running game, it was the same. Mm-hmm. And then this one was probably a little worse because we was at home and it was on Monday night. It's prime time.
And you had it.
And we had it. We had it. And so all I can say is, Philly, don't give up on this, baby, because we working every day, and I promise you, every ounce that I got, I'm going to make sure I try to pour into them guys like I've been doing, and just allow them. I love that we got some adversity early. Now I'm going to see how we respond, and that's just how this game go. It's how you respond and how you going to come to practice more focused, more detailed, all that stuff. Like, you will really tell how much it means to somebody through some adversity. So I'm excited to see how we bounce back against a great Saints team who's really hot right now. And if we're gonna stop Alvin Kamara, we gotta do it together.
We have a million topics and questions for Brandon, and we'll get through as many as we can today. Again, BG with us for the next 20 minutes. Let's mix in some phone calls as well and talk to Mike right now. Mike, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, BG.
Morning.
Okay, so Joe, I am one of those 14-3 guys, and I'm not getting off that hill just yet.
No shot.
It don't look good. I'm with you. It don't look good. But you know what? Listen, Saquon makes that catch. The whole narrative today is completely different. Okay, we're talking about aggressive football.
Let me just tell you, Mike, I disagree, and here's why. Yes, the record's different as Saquon catches at 2-0, but I would still be saying the same things about 5 or 7 different big issues, namely pass rush, stopping the run, Jalen leaving the pocket prematurely, Jalen, God bless him, running as much as he did to be as effective as he was, but that is not sustainable for the next 19 games without injury. I mean, he took some big hits and big risks, and it worked last night to achieve as much as he and they could offensively, but that is risky. Like, there are some things that have got to get better, in my opinion, for this to be a good football team. And I hate to say this with Brandon sitting right here in front of me, but I'm telling you, Mike, what I saw last night, and I go back to week 1 as well, it just looks like an average team to me.
So, Joe, you're right. Every single thing you said there, it would be pinpointed, would still be highlighted and discussed. However, there would be the caveat behind it of like, hey, we're 2-0, we could still figure it out. Like it would be a lot lighter. Right, we would still be talking about, that.
It would be a different feel. It'd be like the first 11 games last year when it was like the Eagles won. Yeah, that's great, but man, it kind of looks weird. Mike, let me ask you a question. Are you past the point of believing that Hurts and Goddard will ever get on the same page? So, I mean, there's no A.J. Brown.
Why would you be?
Why would you be? They just, I mean,
that's absurd.
John, Goddard is at the point, he's around the point in his career when Ertz caught 118 passes one year. And I'm not saying I'm ripping Goddard, just those two just don't connect out there.
You got a 25, 26-year-old quarterback, 25, 26-year-old tight end. They're growing together.
Let me tell you this, John.
They're learning together as they go.
Goddard is closer.
They are very talented.
Goddard is closer to decline than ascension.
Dallas Goddard is 29, just for those. I just looked it up.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there'd be a lot. I'm just telling you, by this
young enough that it feels pretty good that he's got a lot moving forward.
Look, maybe you get another 2 years, but I mean, James, why don't Goddard and Hurts connect? You have any explanation for this?
No, it's a great. Like last night,
no A.J. Brown.
Yes, right? He had 4 for 31 or something, and they all and a few of them happened late. Like you have one catch until the fourth quarter. Like, no, I mean, like you have to figure that out. And to your point, look, I think Dallas Goedert's a really good player. I just don't think he's a top 5 tight end like we built him to be.
I don't either.
He's just not. It is what it is.
Next week, if he catches 10 balls for 150
yards,
you'll say he's a top 5 tight end.
He's never done that.
You know that the way that these passes work, the way that the offense works, it's not designed, okay, AJ, we're throwing you the ball on this play. We've got a whole progression. It might be you. It might be you. It might be you. It might be you. It depends on what the defense does.
Yeah, but over hundreds of plays.
Everyone is trying to take him
in a season. When you have 1,000 plays in a season, I expect him at this point to get more than 50 catches in a year. I just do.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, let's go inside after the game. So you referenced, Jalen breaking the team down. That news came out post game. He didn't want to talk a ton about it. You could tell post game, but. What was it like in the locker room when before the reporters get in there, it's just you guys and the coaches, and then eventually you guys breaking it down. What did you feel in that room after that stinging loss?
I felt everybody was stung. Everybody wanted to just get out this week already. Didn't want to deal with what was about to come as far as, what we talking about here. Everybody knew it was to be on Monday night and to get, as a defense, I know I'm just speaking as a defense, to get ran on, it was like, that's unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I feel like we better in the pass game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we got to match. It got to match both ways. But only way it happens is if we stay together, which I was saying like right now, and we keep building this thing because I believe in our coordinator. I believe in our team. I believe we got the right guys here to do it. But we can't talk about it. We got to do it.
Yeah.
And so I felt that vibe last night because when Jalen spoke up, he always speak up, but it's not like that fire that he had last night. And it was just like, y'all boys don't keep y'all head down. Put that head up because at the end of the day, we own what it is that we do. And then we do something about it. And that's pretty much was the message. Like, what we going to do about it? Because now this our first little bit of adversity. Yeah, everybody, this team look at the roster, look at that. That don't mean nothing, as we know in this league. It's about a togetherness. And that's what I say, like, you see, when you watch games and you see different games, I watch the togetherness on the sideline. You watch you yelling at each other. All that little stuff matter. I'm telling you, especially in the heat of the moment. And if we could just make sure we block the noise out. I know I got to deal with this every week, and I got to hear y'all talking, but I try not to. Last night, I ain't turned no TV on. I'm just ready to get back to work, and because I want y'all to be able to talk in a better way, and of course, and see us grow as a team, and actually, see us get stronger as the year go. And then, so as we keep going in this season, things, the narrative will change for us. But right now, this is what it is, and I'm gonna be a realist about it. It's unacceptable for us to allow them to run that much on us. So we gonna do something about it.
Brandon, there was a point in time when Jim Schwartz was our defensive coordinator here, and we were doing the midday show here, where it was, man, we were number 1 in the league at stopping the run. It was a point of pride every year.
Yes,
we were, allowing 60 yards, 70 yards a game. What is the major difference? I mean, you were here for that. Mm-hmm. You've been part of this too.
Yeah.
What's the big difference? It can't be that. It can't be that complicated. In my mind, it really is attitude above all else. Mm-hmm. But what else is there, and what do you guys need to do to get back to being really, you guys were number 1 in the NFL. Well, it was like every year.
Well, top 5 or 10 for many years there. Brandon, go ahead. What do you think of that?
We was talking about this on the side. Well, not the side, but just like before, on how Jim packed the box, ate in the box, and then he leave his corners out on the island. And during them times, we didn't have the type of corners we have now. And of course, it's scheme and all this stuff. And Vic do it the way he do it. I just know that when you look back at our film. He loaded the box. We running cover 3. You got the safety down, Malcolm Jenkins, and they shooting the gaps. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different on how they track it, as linebackers than what we used to do, with Jim stuff. We downhill first, and what we get caught sometimes on the play action. Mm-hmm. But when you got them corners that we got, like, we got good corners and safeties and all that stuff. I just felt like at that year of the Super Bowl, we played together. We complimented them because we was hitting the quarterback. We was, affecting throws, especially on just plays where maybe he was open, but he couldn't get it there because we hit him. You know what I'm saying? So we complimented each other well because that goes together. And we going to get there. And I really do feel like it's happening because of how we practice and what we doing. Like, Coach talk about all that little details, all the stuff all the time. He calling people out. He holding them accountable. Nah, this is a little adversity that we're going through. We lost. We dropped the ball on this one. Even after 150 yards rushing on this. It's like, but I know for Jim, we loaded that box, during that time, and then he left the corners out on one-on-ones, and sometimes we lose the 50-50, but for the most part, we tried to make sure that was a prideful thing.
And John, I'll say, Brandon's phone.
Again, let me turn this. It's 8 o'clock. It's my 8 o'clock.
Brandon's phone going off. By the way, John, I'll add this because obviously you asked that to BJ, but John, there's another big difference from that group. You had Fletcher Cox as a borderline Hall of Fame player on that team.
Yeah,
and the bottom line is Howie Roseman invested in Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, not necessarily to be at the same level. I mean, you hope so, but like to be better than this. And you guys know what I said about Jalen Carter coming into the year. I don't view his role as, okay, Jalen Carter, what's your job? I'm a defensive tackle for the Eagles. Then that's not his job. Jalen Carter's job is to be a dominator. That's his job. That's what this defense requires. And 2 weeks into his second season, and I remember Fletcher Cox in his second season. He was a dominator. This team needs Jalen Carter to become a dominator quick. Let's go to the phones. Chuck in Mount Airy. Well, we got Brandon Graham here with us. Good morning, Chuck.
Hey, what's good morning? Good morning. What's up? What's going on? Hey, BJ, what's up, man? Hey,
what up, Chuck?
BJ, you said this last year, man.
I mean,
when we was going through this slump, I know you're supposed to come on here and say all the right things, man. But, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Howie Roseman dropped the ball, man, in Howie season. You let a perfect pass rusher walk out the door just because he was disgruntled about his contract, something that could have been worked out. He dropped the ball, man.
Well, Chuck, you got to say this. I think Howie made mistakes, but, Chuck, we got to say this in Howie's defense. A situation that maybe could have been worked out. I mean, the bottom line is the one main thing we don't know about the Reddick situation and may never find out, what is his demand? What has he said no to the Eagles and the Jets? Has he turned down $60 million? Did he turn down $80 million? Did he turn down $100 million? I have no idea. Obviously, we know two organizations think he's asking for too much. And there is a point where you shouldn't give him too much. Now, in the absence of that information, it's hard to fully assess, but the fact that he's not playing for the Jets tells me it probably was not going to get worked out here because Reddick probably had a demand that would make most NFL teams uncomfortable, is my guess.
I hear you, Joe. I just think that something could have been worked out behind the scenes. God, his hometown, he wanted to be here. You know what I mean? You could tell, and they just let him walk out the door, man. They traded him for this guy. You know, basically, it was essentially a trade on trade. You bring in Bryce Hubbard, he can't give you nothing. And Josh Sweat told me we got to pressure the quarterback all together. I never heard nothing like that in my life. I understand stunts and things of that nature, but you know, at the end of the day, you just got to get your ass to the quarterback, man. You know what I mean? And then when I look at the quarterback, our quarterback, Jalen Hurts, right? I'm just saying, he doesn't move the needle for me. You know, I know he's missing A.J. Brown yesterday, and that's a huge
man. Loss. You said Chuck.
He doesn't.
They signed Chuck today.
I don't care what he does not move the needle for me. You know what I'm saying? You know, he makes boneheaded decisions, and he had opportunity. All you had to do was get a field goal range.
Well, Chuck,
he made a mistake. Right, Chuck, actually, he made a couple major mistakes the first couple weeks that really are tough to get around. But he also looked so much more explosive yesterday.
He did.
Put to rest those who were fearing for his athleticism. Joe.
Well, I wouldn't say put it to rest, but I'd say he certainly quelled that talk to an extent.
He looked so much better.
He looked more spry.
Oh, man.
You know what's a moment we haven't even talked about from last night? Because, look, Jalen, I thought, played a poor first half and a pretty darn good second half, obviously until the end with the pick when I think he pressed too much. But I give him a lot of credit for his improvement last night. I was very disappointed in the first half when I thought he was leaking the pocket to the right, way too often, unnecessarily. But there's a moment we haven't even addressed. Troy Aikman, straight up, in the broadcast, on the ball that Devontae was not able to corral because that defender hit him. I mean, Aikman's like, you put that ball more to the pylon, that's 7 points.
Well, and he kind of lofted it, too. It was like, you got to zip that ball in there. He allowed the defender to get there right at the perfect time.
James, that's a 4-point difference in a game that you lost by 1 point.
Aikman called it out immediately. He's like, you can't lob that in there. He's like, what are you doing?
Put it to the pylon. And Devontae catches it smooth.
That's an experience thing.
Or it's just an accuracy thing.
It is more reps, more. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Yeah, but it is more experience yields better results with quarterbacks for that reason.
Let's get to Saquon. I don't want to lose track of this. Obviously, we're focusing a lot with BG here on the defense, but let's also talk about it's not quite the end, but it basically would have been the end if Saquon had held on the ball. I thought he otherwise played a great game. He's had an incredible start the first two games. I mean, let's put it this way. Let me do quick math. 60 plus 58, 118 minutes have been phenomenal from Saquon Barkley. Phenomenal. And then he dropped the ball. Let's listen to Saquon after the game on the drop. I do appreciate, I'll always appreciate the way Mitch handled Game 6 in 93 after the game. I mean, he manned up. He gave up the home run to Joe Carter. No one ever stood there and answered all the questions in a tougher spot than Mitch Williams in Toronto that night in October of 93. Saquon, not as tough a spot, but a tough spot. He cost them the game by dropping the ball. I greatly appreciate the way Saquon addressed things last night.
Yeah, I can sit here and, complain and be upset about it, or I could be a professional athlete and go back to the drawing board and take the lick, move on, and get better from it. I've made that play multiple times. I missed that play before too, meaning the situation. That happens part of the game, and I just got to be better. I let my team down. I got to man up to it. I got to own it, which I'm doing, and I can promise those guys in his locker room that I'm going to be better from it.
And, that's really one of many times last night he said the same thing. He was asked the same question a bunch of different ways. He probably answered it 4 or 5 different times. Similar type of answers. You could not have stood there and took more ownership than he did after the game, and I appreciate that. And he's a great player.
It was awesome to hear him say that. It didn't make it any easier to deal with the fact that would have changed.
Well, at least
outcome.
It's not Ben Simmons, Sean, because think about how Ben Simmons.
No, you're right.
Ben Simmons still acts like he didn't do something wrong by passing the ball when Trae Young was about to.
He would have blamed someone sitting on the bench. He's like, he looked at me. He looked at me while I was passing the ball. How am I supposed to make a pass like that?
Totally.
I'm sure his teammates appreciate the straightforward, just honesty.
Yeah, I get it.
We were talking about our inability to stop the run yesterday, 150 plus yards, Brandon. We were also talking about, prior to that game, we got a linebacker in Devin White that we don't really understand what's going on with his injury situation, with his emotional situation. Devin White, does he make a difference with our ability to stop the run in that game against the Falcons?
Well, I guess, that's a question for Coach now. I don't really know the business, on what they doing. You know what I'm saying? But if he hurting, you know what I'm saying, I understand. I definitely understand. We just need to make sure that we all together. That's really all it is. Like, I ain't in panic mode. I just know that it's a build. It's a build. Just like last year, who would have thought Chiefs came through and did what they did? You know what I'm saying? Off a year, they don't have receivers. They ain't got that. They ain't got everybody that that you need. I'm not just saying we the Chiefs, but I'm just saying, like, everybody was trying to worry about what we don't got or what they seeing. But I feel like people gonna get better, and people got pride. Us as men, I know we got pride, and if we got some pride about ourselves, we gonna go out here this next game and make sure that don't beat us as far as running game. You know what I'm saying? And then we just keep building, and it's attitude, like you said. And so how is our attitude moving forward? Because that's all we could do. I'm glad we got 15 more opportunities, 16 more, whatever it is, and I'm happy that. This not the end all be all, because I don't want to end like this. I don't want the season to end like how it ended last year, for sure. But I'm glad that we got some stuff to work on, and that's what you want to see as a team. We ain't do no preseason, no excuses, but we knew going into these first two, we got one, we dropped one, and now it's like, let's go out there and let's put it all together. And let's give ourselves the best shot to win, other than losing it ourselves.
Brandon Graham here in Studio BG. You were just talking big picture there with that answer. Let's go to a small picture moment. Yep. The face mask,
man.
So, is that bad luck? Like, you're reaching out to try to grab a guy. I have always, as a fan, given grace to players when I know they're trying to reach and make a tackle and they just happen to grab the face area. Is that bad luck?
It sucked because I'm calling. I'm saying, hey, here come the screen, and you see me run right to it. And the first, he just kind of came in. I see him. He juked, and my hand just went, right across his face. I let it go as soon as I felt him. But it's just
you kind of tugged it for a second.
Yeah, because
you gave it a tug for a second.
I did, and I'm like, because I'm trying to grab him.
Yeah, you're playing football.
But I mean, people can say what they want. If you ain't never played, you don't understand. Like, but I don't make excuses. I did a play. I made a mistake. That fine is coming. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? I tried to own it. We stopped them and held them to 3. Put a little pressure on them on the last down to help. And so I felt when we make mistakes, we want to make another play so that we can make up for what we did for the team or hurt the team. So that's my mindset. I mean, I ain't got no excuses for that. He just was right there, and man, I caught him. And my teammates had my back on that drive. We ended up holding them to 3, and man, I'm just happy we got out of there.
Well, Brandon, look, man, 2 things. Number one, we wish you, all the best luck in the world. Another game in 5 days. That's an incredible quick turnaround. Mm-hmm. Number 2, and hopefully I'm only saying this to you 1 time this year, not 9 times this year. But we appreciate the way you handle it after loss. We know the nature of these conversations are different after loss. You know that. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the way you handle it. And please know, both from us and I know the callers, I mean, and you players know, we want you to win. And we get frustrated when we think it should have been a W and wasn't.
For sure. And just to respond to Chuck, hey, Chuck, I got you. You don't want to hear the same stuff this year. I got you. Who want to keep saying the same stuff? I want my words to at least come out and be like, see, that's what I'm talking about. But we're going to sign Chuck to a 10-day too, since he, can get back there. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Chuck, I appreciate your love, man. I know that's all passion. I know you still ain't processed everything too. Everybody hurting too. But we going to get it right. We going to get it right. And, man, all I can say is we got some pride about us, and I know we going to get it right. I know Saquon going to make the play the next time. I know we going to not give up 150-something yards. I ain't going to guarantee. I'm going to just say I can promise you we going to go out there and work our butt off like we do, and we going to put a better show on.
All right, Brandon. Good luck in New Orleans, pal. Thanks, man. 215-592-9494. Ray Dittinger at 8:30, plus all the calls. We're coming to you next. Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie. It's 94 WIP.